Hey, what's poppin', everybody? Let's get into the recap of yesterday. A 1-2 day for us, but one of those rare instances where it's a 1-2 day, but I'm not too upset about it. The three picks that we made for yesterday's video, great picks. They just didn't pan out the way they should have. John Collins was the lock of the day, over 25.5 points and rebounds. He did exactly what he needed to do on the rebounding end. He grabbed 10 boards for us, which should have been perfect, but only scored 10 points, shot 3 for 12 from the field. So again, we finally fell victim to a bad shooting night for the first time this year, which was going to happen eventually. So I'm not mad about that bet. You know, he grabbed 2 boards, took 12 shots. He hits half of them like he normally does, and he hits his line easily. So not too upset about the John Collins pick there. Rudy Gobert just barely hit his over. He got 15 boards for us. And then Kyle Kuzma, same story. Only took 8 shots, did Kyle Kuzma yesterday. Missed a couple of free throws. Nothing you can do about that when guys have bad shooting nights, and that was the instance for us last night. Guys just didn't shoot the ball well, or in Kyle Kuzma's instance, just didn't take any shots. He only took 8 the whole game. So I'm not upset about that yesterday. Sometimes it just goes out that way, but let's get into today's picks. We got 3 more for today. Real quick, if you guys are new to Underdog Fantasy, in the link down in the description below, I have a link that takes you straight to the App Store where you can download Underdog Fantasy, because you're going to want to hop in on the action this year. They have added a whole bunch of new features to Underdog Fantasy this year. Starting with the brand new insurance feature, okay? This insurance feature is a new thing that has been super requested for the fans and the customers of Underdog Fantasy. Essentially, all you do is you click insurance right here. And if you can see right there, all you have to do is hit 4 of these picks to win, but the value does drop down. So if you turn off the insurance, you do a $10 bet, you obviously get $200. And if you turn on the insurance feature, it drops down a multiplier down to 10. But if you miss one of these picks, say, Jameis Winston gets hurt or something, he doesn't end up throwing 2 touchdown passes. But everybody else hits, like Lamar, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, and Justin Jefferson. All these guys hit. You still hit the slip. You just get it for $100. It just goes down a multiplier, which is a huge feature a lot of people have been asking for, so they received it. Also, they have added second half lines now to games. Obviously, it is on. There is nothing up because there's no NFL second half games, but they have added NFL second half. So just like for the Thursday night game, I'll throw up that clip right here. Thursday night, they dropped all the second half lines for that Thursday night game between the Bills and the Rams. They've added a bunch of new features this year. They're trying to improve to get the app better for you guys. Also, when you sign up, if you use code TAKEMYSHOT, you'll get $100 match, up to $100 match and 100% deposit match on your first time deposit. So if you do that, you can deposit $50 to get an extra $50, $20 to get an extra $20. Whole lot of stuff coming with Underdog Fantasy this year. Make sure you sign up with code TAKEMYSHOT. Now let's get to today's picks. Coming in hot with today's lock of the day. Let's get it. It's coming from the 640 game. Give me the Orlando versus the Knicks game in this one. We're going to take a guy that we took the over like crazy last year. We bet on him a lot last year. We took his overs all the time because he was cashing for us. We're going to take these under for the first time I think ever. We're going to take Wendell Carter Jr. under 27.5 PRA. I went back and forth hard with this one. I went with points. I went with points and assists. He's only hit the over on his points once this season. He's taking on a tough defensive matchup today in Mitchell Robinson, one of the best paint defenders in the league for the New York Knicks. How the Knicks have fared against starting centers in their first 2 games. Isaiah Stewart had 8, 10, and 1, so he had 19 PRA. And then Steven Adams had 3, 14, and 3, so he had 20 PRA. And so far in the season, Wendell Carter's had 25 PRA, 24 PRA, and 32 PRA. So he's only hit the over once in this game, or in his 3 games this season. In his 3 matchups versus the Knicks last year, he had 25 PRA, 21 PRA, and 21 PRA for a 22 average on his PRA. And that was without Paolo Banchero in the lineup. Obviously, he's taking a majority, a lot of his shots. Cole Anthony's taking a lot of the shots, so I'm liking Wendell Carter today under 27.5 PRA versus the New York Knicks. Next up, we're going to head over to the 7-10 game. Give me the Houston Rockets versus the Utah Jazz in this one. We're going to take Jalen Green over 22.5 points in this one. You guys know I like to look for games on the day that have the highest total score that they're projecting for the day. And this Utah Jazz versus Houston Rockets team, or matchup here, has got one of the highest projected scores of the day, second behind the Spurs and the Spurs and the Timberwolves today for that game. So they got that total score projected at 232. So they're anticipating this game to be very high scoring, also at a 1.5 spread, so a very close game between these 2 teams, which is exactly what I'm anticipating it to be as well. The Houston Rockets took on the Grizzlies the other day, if you guys remember that game. Very high scoring, very close in that one. So I'm anticipating this game to be very similar. In that game, Jalen Green dropped 30 in that game, and that's what I'm anticipating him to do today. Today, of course, he's taking on the Utah Jazz, who've got up to a surprising 3-0 start, but the Utah Jazz have been giving up a lot of buckets to shooting guards in this game, or in their 2 matchups to start the year. They gave up 30 to Anthony Edwards in the second game of the year, and they gave up, or in the first game of the year, and then they gave up CJ McCollum, gave up 28 to CJ McCollum last night. They're giving up 29 points per game essentially through 2 games, 2 shooting guards. So I'm liking that Jalen Green to also have a massive scoring night tonight. They're also allowing 116 points per game are the Utah Jazz. And the Houston Rockets' clear number one scorer is Jalen Green. So I'm anticipating him to have a boatload of chances to get buckets today between these two teams. I like it when two young teams face off against each other because that means it's going to be a very fast-paced game. A lot of shots are going to be taking, not very defensive games because both teams are looking to just get buckets. So I'm liking Jalen Green today to get over 22.5 points. I'm really liking that pick today. And our last pick of the day is going to be coming from the Spurs versus Minnesota game, the highest total score game of the day at 235, 234.5. It might be a little bit of a sleeper pick, and not many people are probably talking about this guy. He's been an early season, a little bit of a surprise for a lot of people, averaging 20 points, well over 20 points per game to start the year on a surprising team that a lot of people thought were going to be really bad. Give me Devin Vassell over 17.5 points here to start today, or for our final pick for today. Like I said, 23 in game one, 22 in game two, playing right around that over 33 minutes per game range, which is right exactly where I like players to be, right about 33 minutes and over when I'm talking about players getting a good amount of playing time. The other thing I'm liking about Devin Vassell is he's looking like he's the Spurs' number one scoring option. Maybe 1A and 1B with Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson. That's the only person that's kind of taking away shots from him, and it's not even really taking away shots from him. It's just the other person that's kind of taking the most shots for the Spurs. In game one for the Spurs, he did take the most shots with 15, and in game two, he took the second most shots with 14, sitting right behind Keldon Johnson. So I'm liking the fact he's taking a lot of shots, he's getting a lot of minutes on the floor, and he's taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves today, okay? The Minnesota Timberwolves are giving up 14 made threes a game through the first couple of games of the season here, and the Spurs are actually averaging 13 made threes per game. So look for the Spurs to shoot a lot of threes and make a lot of threes because the Timberwolves give up a lot of threes. Through two games, they've played two shooting guards, Lou Dort, who had 20 in his matchup, so over that 17.5 line, as well as Jordan Clarkson, who had 29, so well over the 17.5 line. So the Spurs are giving up a lot, or making a lot of threes. Timberwolves are giving up a lot of threes. Devin Vassell has turned into the Spurs' number one option, and his line is sitting at 17.5 today. Hit the over, well over the over in his first two matchups. Also is getting to the free throw line a decent amount of times is Devin Vassell. So I'm liking Devin Vassell today over 17.5 points versus this Timberwolves team as our third play of the day. All right, boys, which means our perfect three slip is the lock of the day. Wendell Carter under 27.5 PRA. Give me Jalen Green over 22.5 points and Devin Vassell over 17.5 points as our perfect three slip today. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. Huge shout out and thanks to you guys. Just cracked 28K on YouTube yesterday, or it might have been late last night, this morning. I've been sitting on 27K for, fluctuating between 26 and 27K for since April. For a very long time, I've been sitting in that range. So in just 1 week of NBA basketball, I've already gained well over 100 subs, and we're, over the 28 or 2.8. Am I been saying 28? I meant 2.8K. Already getting over that in just 1 week of NBA season. By the end of the week, we could already be at 3K. So I'm super excited about that. Thanks, guys, for all the support you guys have been showing me. We've been off to a red hot start. Let's keep it popping tonight. I'm really liking these lines, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.